Seattle, a city once hailed as the symbol of the future. Seattle, the city once praised as the beacon of the future. Home to tech giants like Amazon and Microsoft, companies worth trillions of dollars. Nestled between evergreen forests, snow-capped mountains, and deep blue bays. But do you know what left me utterly speechless? Right beneath those gleaming skyscrapers lies a world that is slowly rotting away. The first time I stepped out of Seattle's Central Station, I felt like I had stumbled into a post-apocalyptic film. Tents, broken-down cars, people curled up on the sidewalk, right in front of a luxurious Starbucks. A woman held her baby inside a plastic bag to shield it from the rain. A man was injecting drugs right beneath the sign that read, "Welcome to Seattle." I thought I'd come to explore a futuristic city, but no. I had stepped into a nightmare called the American reality. Seattle, a super-rich city trapped in the shadow of homelessness. Seattle is a prominent city in the Pacific Northwest, famed for its breathtaking natural scenery and home to major tech giants like Amazon, Microsoft, and Boeing. It's also a hub for startups, innovation, liberal culture, craft coffee, and modern lifestyles. Many see it as the prototype of the city of tomorrow, but behind the velvet curtain lies a broken, bleak reality. Seattle is silently grappling with one of the worst homelessness crises in the United States. On the same street, you might see a jarring contrast: gleaming glass towers on one side and rows of makeshift tents pitched under overpasses, in parks, or near subway entrances on the other. People sleep on freezing sidewalks just a few feet away from tech engineers, sipping espresso inside high-end cafes. According to the latest 2025 statistics from King County, Seattle is home to over 13,300 homeless individuals. More than half live outdoors or in their cars. Alarmingly, nearly 1,500 are unaccompanied youth, and around 40% struggle with severe mental illness or substance addiction. Seattle was once a haven for those seeking a better life, but now it's a battlefield where people fight each day just to survive. The issue isn't just about the lack of shelters. Rents in Seattle have surged over 115% in the last decade, while average incomes have only grown by about 25%. Today, a one-bedroom apartment can cost between $2,100 and $2,300 per month, an unaffordable sum for many workers in education, healthcare, transportation, and service industries. Many are forced to live in their cars or become homeless just a few months after losing their job or facing a health emergency. At the same time, Seattle is being ravaged by the opioid epidemic. In 2024 alone, nearly 1,000 people died from fentanyl overdoses, accounting for more than 80% of all drug-related deaths. The homeless here have lost not only their homes, but also their sense of direction, trapped in a vicious cycle of addiction and untreated mental illness. Despite the city spending over $1.2 billion on support programs over the past 5 years, conditions remain dire. Part of the problem lies in inconsistent policies and conflicting agendas. Some wealthy neighborhoods oppose affordable housing developments, citing fears about safety and property values. Meanwhile, constant shifts between punitive and humanitarian strategies have made responses fragmented and ineffective. Seattle still lacks sustainable transitional housing models. Shelters are often overcrowded, unsafe, and unfit for those with mental health conditions. Seattle now faces a bitter paradox: a modern, wealthy, and progressive city that cannot fulfill its most basic responsibility, providing shelter to thousands of its residents. People who once believed in the promise of this city are now pitching tents in the freezing winter or curling up inside their cars, right in the heart of a city worth billions. Seattle hasn't collapsed from poverty. It is crumbling under the weight of rapid, uneven, and inhumane development. And the deeper question we must ask is, are we truly facing a homelessness crisis? Or is this actually a collective moral collapse of a city once proud to be the symbol of progress? What do you think prevents a city as modern as Seattle from solving homelessness? Is it a lack of funding, policy failure, or a lack of compassion? Leave your thoughts below. The dark side of Seattle, when paradise turns into a nightmare. Seattle isn't dying from scarcity, it's drowning in excess. but misallocated. You can stand in the Amazon HQ Plaza, surrounded by futuristic glass domes, and walk just 5 minutes to find a mother burning toilet paper to keep her newborn warm. Here, self-driving cars and drone deliveries are reality, not science fiction. But a roof over your head? That's an unaffordable luxury for tens of thousands. Seattle once promised to be inclusive, green, and equitable. But you know what's really green? The pale skin of fentanyl addicts lying unconscious on the sidewalks. And what's clean? The hands of a local government that washes away its responsibility. Seattle doesn't lack welfare funding. What it lacks is humanity. They build shelters for robotic dogs but argue for years over placing a single medical station for homeless people. They distribute high-tech face masks for free, but can't manage to fund a single effective rehab program for real flesh and blood people dying in the heart of the city. Seattle is where you might see a billionaire CEO sipping $300 wine on a rooftop bar, while just below, a former cancer-stricken nurse now sleeps on a park bench because she couldn't afford rent. A truly civilized society isn't defined by internet speed, but by how it treats its most vulnerable. And if Seattle is the benchmark, then maybe America has forgotten the promises it once made in its own Declaration of Human Rights. When law fails, chaos reigns, and people are left to save themselves. Seattle, once hailed as a laboratory of social progress, has become a cautionary tale of what happens when state power retreats and nothing strong enough rises to replace it. Freedom, once a point of pride, has now morphed into a distorted version, a place where the strong trample the weak without fear of consequence. After the 2020 Chaz incident, where protesters took over 6 city blocks and declared an autonomous zone in the heart of Seattle, the city was never the same. For weeks, there were no police, no ambulances, no rule of law. 2 people were shot and killed, dozens assaulted, and hardly anyone was ever prosecuted. But the most terrifying part wasn't what happened. It was how the city accepted it as part of a new normal. The ghost of Chaz still haunts the city. Neighborhoods like Ballard, Belltown, and Rainier Valley have seen uncontrolled spikes in crime. Recent reports from the Seattle Police Department, SPD, show that between 2020 and 2024, armed robberies rose by 82%, property destruction by 57%, while prosecution rates steadily declined. Thousands of cases are closed without resolution due to staff shortages, budget cuts, or worse, conditional leniency policies. So what about the people? Many now install cameras, adopt guard dogs, or hire private security, a literal embodiment of the DIY America society. Small businesses, coffee shops, convenience stores live in daily fear. Open today, robbed or burned down tomorrow. Some have quietly shut down, leaving their startup dreams behind. Seattle isn't dying from poverty. It's dying from the collapse of public trust. When the police don't show up, when courts don't prosecute, and when the government just offers apologies and encourages dialogue, citizens are forced to become their own lawyers, police officers, and judges. This is no longer freedom. It's social decay masquerading as progress. And if no reckoning comes soon, Seattle may just be the first in a long line of American cities on the path to breakdown. What do you think? Should the city keep prioritizing leniency or crack down to restore order? Share your thoughts below. This debate is far from over. Schools can't save kids without homes. Seattle, home to the prestigious University of Washington, a global innovation hub, and billions flowing through tech giants daily, is now witnessing a heartbreaking reality. An entire generation of children growing up without dreams, because they don't even have a bed to sleep in. As of early 2025, more than 3,100 children in King County's public school system are confirmed to be homeless or unstably housed. That's more than double the national average. And behind every number is a human tragedy. Kids doing homework by phone light, washing clothes in public restrooms, and eating dinner from food donations. If they're lucky that day, can you imagine how a child is supposed to learn when they wake up washing their face with a wet wipe, have nothing to eat, and slept in a parked car the night before? And what about the education system? Public schools in Seattle, once a lifeline, are slowly drowning. Teacher shortages, lack of support staff, budget cuts, and gutted aid programs have left the most vulnerable students behind. Private schools? That's a different universe. Exclusive, well-funded, and increasingly out of reach for poor kids. Tuition at Seattle's top private schools now ranges from $25,000 to $40,000 per year, more than many working-class families earn annually. The result? Not just low grades, but an entire generation locked out before the race even starts. No degree, no connections, no skills. These children are far more likely to fall into homelessness, addiction, violence, or simply repeat the same poverty cycle their parents couldn't escape. If society keeps looking away, we're not just failing education. We're enabling a permanent system of poverty, and any city that can't invest in its future will sooner or later pay the price. A tech city dying of loneliness. Seattle, the beating heart of American tech, where robot baristas serve coffee and self-driving cars roam the streets. But beneath that gleaming surface, the city is cracking. Emotionally, socially, spiritually, you can sit in a sleek cafe, order food on an app, and enjoy city views through floor-to-ceiling glass. Only to walk a few feet and see someone overdosing on fentanyl, or an elderly woman muttering to herself in the shadows, utterly forgotten. Seattle doesn't lack technology. What it lacks is the simplest thing: human connection. According to the latest CDC report, Seattle ranks among the top 5 U.S. cities with the highest rates of depression, anxiety, and suicide. It's not just the gloomy weather, it's the coldness of modern urban life. Skyrocketing costs, cutthroat competition, social isolation, and widening class divides have made thousands feel like nothing more than a rental ID number in a society run by algorithms. In some high-end apartment complexes, people die alone, their bodies not discovered for weeks until the stench forces a neighbor to call the police. In this city of the future, human beings are treated like forgotten relics of the past. Worse still, we're becoming numb. Someone collapses on the street, and people assume, just another junkie. A scream pierces the night, and windows close. Seattle isn't just paralyzed by cold weather, but by the coldness of its systems and its people. When technology rises but compassion falls, civilization loses its meaning. And Seattle, the city that once led the way into the future, is now leading us into a silent collapse of the human soul. Seattle today, the scale, causes, and consequences of the crisis. Today, Seattle is not only a symbol of technology, innovation, and stunning natural landscapes, it's also one of the epicenters of the homelessness crisis in the United States. Beneath its prosperous exterior lies a silent but brutal survival war, where thousands of people face the cold, hunger, and hopelessness each night, the kind of suffering that should not exist in any modern society. As of 2025, more than 13,000 people in King County, where Seattle is located, are without stable housing. Of those, nearly 55% live outdoors, sleeping on sidewalks, in parks, under bridges, or inside broken-down cars. Hundreds of millions of dollars are spent annually on aid programs. Yet the number of unhoused people continues to grow each year. The message is clear: the issue isn't a lack of money. It's the absence of a coordinated, effective, and deeply humane solution. Why is this crisis getting worse? First, the cost of housing in Seattle has become completely unaffordable for most working-class residents. A one-bedroom apartment now rents for an average of $2,100, $2,300 per month, nearly double the recommended spending limit for people working in healthcare, education, construction, or service jobs. At current minimum wage levels, a worker would need to clock more than 80 hours a week just to afford rent, not including food, transportation, or health insurance. Any shock, a job loss, illness, or divorce, can turn an average person into someone sleeping in a car in just a few months. Second, income inequality is widening rapidly. Seattle is home to six-figure tech engineers, but also to tens of thousands of people who work as delivery drivers, servers, janitors, and maintenance staff, who can't dream of renting or buying a home anywhere near the city center. The social safety net isn't strong enough to catch those who fall out of the workforce. In today's world, you don't have to do anything wrong to end up homeless. You just have to be unlucky. Third, the opioid crisis, especially fentanyl, is turning Seattle into a battlefield of public health. In the past 5 years, fentanyl-related deaths have surged nearly 50%, leaving many addicts unable to hold jobs, maintain relationships, or keep their homes. A growing number of the homeless are trapped in a vicious cycle: addiction, mental illness, street life, relapse, with no public health system strong enough to break it. The city lacks detox centers, counseling services, and housing options for those with mental illnesses. Finally, Seattle's housing policies are both weak and conflicted. While city officials claim to support affordable housing construction, reality tells a different story. Permitting takes forever, zoning is restrictive, and wealthy neighborhoods continue to oppose shelters near their areas. Many projects get canceled midway due to public pressure. Meanwhile, the city pours money into short-term fixes, like tent villages, sleeping bag distributions, or police raids on encampments, while failing to address the root causes. So what are the consequences? Seattle today has become a symbol of a city split in two, one side enjoying extreme prosperity, the other trapped in extreme suffering. The homeless are not only cut off from the economy, they're stripped of dignity, visibility, and any real chance to recover. As the city grows more high-tech and modern, the question isn't just how many people are homeless, it's how much human dignity are we losing every single day. Seattle, a prosperous city full of contradictions, where the glow of innovation can't hide the tents of poverty under freeway overpasses. So what do you think the solution is? If you support investment in affordable housing and social services, comment 6. If you believe in a tougher approach with stronger enforcement, comment 8. Where do you stand? Leave your opinion below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you won't miss the next surprising and powerful story we uncover.